Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to show you how to make this awesome little crochet pumpkin. So much fun, super easy, and just looks cute for, centerpiece for Thanksgiving or toss it on a mantle. It's gonna be awesome. All right, these ones are super popular this year, so let's go ahead and jump right in. So to get started with our pumpkin, we need 2 different colors of yarn. This is our dark brown from Red Heart. This is an olive green. It's more of like a darker green, and some stuffing and an appropriately sized crochet hook, as well as a darning needle. All right, so to make this one, we're gonna actually start at the end. So what I've done here is I've created a panel of our crochet stitches. I used Camel Stitch for this, and I will show you how to do that in the next section. But right now, we're actually gonna take this panel that we've made, nice and easy, super simple, just a long rectangle, and I have included here on the screen the sizing so you know how many stitches and rows to do, so that way you can make this for yourself. We can seam this together if we want, or we can sew it. I am going to put on a darning needle to the end of my yarn. And if you guys have never seen me do this before, this one is a little bit different maybe than what you've seen in the past. I like to hold my yarn really tight on the needle, pull it off, so it's just a little bit coming out of my fingernail, keeps everything together, and then it just threads on really nice and easy. So if you guys have never done that before, this is how we do it. So now we're gonna seam our 2 ends together. Pick a side that you like that looks nicer. Doesn't really matter, this pattern is reversible. And we're gonna put our ends together and just sew up the 2 ends. And then we're also gonna need another piece of yarn to sew the bottom. We're going to use this piece here, this long tail that I've left at the end of my yarn, for one side to make the pumpkin shape, and then the other one we're going to add. So sew up your edge, back and forth with your darning needle. Make sure you're catching a little bit more than just one loop of yarn along the edge here, and keep everything matched up so you're not having one that's not as big as the other. And the cool part about this one is that if your edges are not perfect, you won't see them, so maybe it won't matter. All right, and as we get up to the end here we are at the top. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to turn our fabric around so that we can see our good side on the outside. Mine has dog hair on it because of course that's what happens when you have a dog. All right, so now we're going to take our strand here and we are going to sew around the top, just loosely. It doesn't have to be awesome. We just want it to be nice and loose around, because when we tighten it, it's going to cinch up and hold the top of our pumpkin closed. Or the bottom. This could be the bottom too, it doesn't really matter. Once we're done, we're gonna tie it off and then add our stuffing. Now you might notice that this burgundy one here is a little larger than the green one that I showed you. That was on purpose, so we have 3 different sizes of pumpkin we can make, and the dark green one is going to be next. Gently tug, push it around, push your stitches around to kind of tighten, and then you can cinch it down. And then go back onto the inside. We're gonna tie ourselves a knot so it doesn't come undone, and then you can weave in your end. And then we can weave in our end, or just put it on the inside of our pumpkin and leave it. All right, so there's our little bowl. All right, so now we're gonna put our stuffing inside. I like to do this in smaller handfuls and then decide how full I want the pumpkin to be. I'm happy with that. And come around the top with our yarn again. It's gonna cinch the top of the pumpkin. Next we will make our little stem. So you guys can use any stitch pattern you want for this one. I used camel, and I'll show you how to do that in a couple of minutes, but you can use anything you want. You can use just straight double crochets. You can do, say, half double crochet ribbing, a half double crocheting in the back loop only. That would work as well. All right, and just keep in mind that because we're doing our panel on its side, the number of stitches that you're going to use for your row is going to determine the height, and the length of your pattern is going to be the circumference around the outside of the pumpkin, okay? So keep that in mind when you're choosing your stitch numbers. So here's our pumpkin. All right, so now let's take our dark brown to make our next stem. Make a little slip knot. Okay, chain 5, and then slip stitch to the beginning of the row to make ourselves a loop. We're going to chain 1. This is the only time we're going to chain 1. Now we're going to turn this into a continuous circle. So we're going to single crochet in each single crochet around. Yarn is really dark, so it's hard to see. So we're just going to continue single crocheting around in a circle all the way until we have a length that we like for this one. And hold it up to your pumpkin, give it a test, and then sew it on. And I've even seen pictures where other people have done it where they actually put a stick in. That would work too. Or a cinnamon stick or something like that in the top. That would be super cute. And then they would also smell really good. So that is it for the pumpkin. And let's go ahead and make the main part of the pumpkin. Okay. So we're going to start again with another piece of yarn. Pick an autumn or fall color that you like, and we can leave ourselves a long tail here because we're going to use this to tie or to sew it together at the end. I didn't do that on the red one, but I did on the small light green. We're going to start with our chains. Row of chain stitches, and then we're going to add 2 chains for our turning chains, and then we're going to start working half double crochets into each stitch from the 3rd one from our hook. So we leave 2 half double crochet into the 3rd, and then work a half double crochet into each stitch across. And then coming back on the next row, I'll show you how to do the camel stitch and recommend how many rows to do for this size of a pumpkin. And then I'll leave you guys to go ahead and do that on the way out of this video because we are almost finished. Now for all of my pumpkins, I am using worsted weight yarn and a 5mm crochet hook, but you can easily modify for chunky or thinner yarn if you wanted. Just use an appropriately sized hook or even size up a hook, and it'll make a nice sized pumpkin for you. And of course you can modify your number of stitches. You know, if you're using a really chunky yarn and a chunky hook, you're not going to use the same number of stitches we're doing, or your pumpkin's going to be huge. I mean, it's totally fine if that's what you're looking for, but if you want something small, then you're going to modify. So there's the end of our first row. We're going to chain 2, turn our work around, and we're going to begin working back the other way. Now, normally we would be inserting our hook into the first stitch here across the V at the top, and this time to do camel stitch or 3rd loop stitch, we are going to bring our crochet hook down into this horizontal bar here that's just below the V's. So our V's go across the top, and then we have our 3rd loop. Okay, that's the one we're going to begin crocheting into. So you just pick it up like this, and camel stitch works really cool. If you're going to do this as a hat, you can absolutely do that, and you're working in the round. It's going to be just a little bit different. You're going to be working up and over the top to work camel stitch in the back. So you're still going to use the same loop, but you're not going to see it. So like if this is the stitch and we're working across, you can still see the 3rd loops here, and you're just going to insert your hook down and into those instead of up and into them like we're doing when we're working flat. So let's do a few more rows of this, and then I will come back and show you what it looks like. I know this video was a little bit backwards. I hope you guys liked it. If you guys did, go ahead and hit that like button below. Show me that you like what we're doing on the channel, and I will continue to come back and finish off our 30 stitches that I promised from September, and those will be uploaded on Saturday mornings until we have done the last 4. So for the month of October, we will do Saturday mornings with our knit stitches, the last 4 of them. Our Wednesdays will go back to alternating knits and crochet videos. And as always, go ahead, like, subscribe, share with friends. If you've got another friend who's learning how to crochet as well, share this video with them. Perhaps they want to subscribe. And if you guys have any other Halloween themed items you guys want me to tutorial, give me a comment down below and we will see what we can do. Or holiday themed things too, because that will be coming up ever so quickly. I've been working on a few different things, and I'm thinking about doing maybe a Christmas stocking, something like that. Let's see. The really cool part about this camel stitch is that we keep the V's on the top of our stitching, and it kind of pops out the front. That way when it becomes horizontal, it looks kind of like knit ribbing. Fun, right? And thank you so much for hanging out with us, and we will see you in the next video. Take care, you guys.